Okay, so yesterday we were focused on the four different methods for um, solving a proportion. Um, Today's lesson, I'm going to go over how to write one, and then we'll practice again solving. So we have the Northwood School Math Club is having a tamale sale. The school has 1,600 students, so that's important information. I usually underline numbers. I think it's important. But the club members are not sure how many tamales to make. One day during lunch, the club asked random students if they would buy a tamale. They found that 15 out of 80 students surveyed. Okay, when I say 15 out of 80 students surveyed, that means that's a ratio. It's kind of a fraction in this case, but fractions are ratios as well. Said they would definitely buy a tamale. How many tamales would the math club expect to sell? Okay, so automatically when I see those two numbers that are used to compare something and they're together, that's going to be my ratio. So when I start up my proportion, I'm going to always have my equal sign in the middle, and I'm going to write down my ratio. So this is 15. They found that 15 out of 80 students surveyed said they would buy tamales. So 15 would buy, so they would. Out of 80 students total, that's how many total students there are. So when I'm writing my proportion, and when I start with my ratio, I want to label them somehow so that I know when I get to the other side how to line them up. So if 15 would out of 80 total, that means I'm going to put my total here, and here would be my would. So now I'm going to go back. Here's the question. How many tamales should the math club expect to sell? So this is the thing that I don't know, should or would, how many they're going to sell. Going back to here, they said there's 1,600 students. That's my proportion. A proportion is a set of equal ratios, okay? And now I need to solve it. The other thing that we need to make sure about is whether or not it's proportional. So ask yourself, would 0 students, if there were 0 students, how many tamales would they sell? It'd be 0. So it's going to go through 0, 0. And it's saying that this is a rate. So when it says it's a rate, you can use that as a ratio. So this is proportional. So we could use the methods. I'm just going to go over 2 of them, the ones that I found that were most popular. I saw a lot of people today using this giant one. Okay, so we have to figure out what will we multiply 80 by to get 1,600. And in order to do that, you take 1,600 divided by 80. And 1,600 divided by 80 is 20. So that means I would multiply 80 by 20 to get 1,600. So because it's a ratio, it's a proportion, it's equal ratios, I would then multiply 15 by 20. So if I take 15 times 20, well, 15 times 2 is 30. So this, and then add a 0, that would be 300. So how many tamales should the math club expect to sell? 300 tamales. Okay, so this was the giant one. Saw a lot of kids using that. The other way that you can do this, and this is the one that hopefully eventually I'd like to see you use. In algebra, we use it a lot. Again, I'm going to use the same proportion. I'm going to get rid of the words. So I got 15 over 80 is equal to x over 1,600. The other method that works is cross products. So I'm going to call this cross products. Cross means diagonal. Products mean multiply. So I'm going to take 15 times 1,600 is equal to 80 times x, or I could just write it as 80x. So I take 15 times 1,600, and I get 24,000 is equal to 80x. So that's 80x. Is I want to figure out how much 1x is worth. So I do that by dividing by 80. And I should get the same thing, which I do. I get 300 is equal to x. So 300 tamales should be sent.